What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Business and Travel Podcast. My name is Jackson Dean, and it is a pleasure to be back. In this episode, we have got a powerhouse guest yet again. His name is Dan Krasnostein. He is the partner of Square Peg Capital, which is a $300 million venture capital company based in Israel at the moment. It was a result of bringing together Victoria Capital, an Australian venture capital firm, and Square Peg Ventures. And this company invests a lot in the tech space over in Israel. So in this episode, we just have a really quick fire interview. I got the chance to sit down with Dan and just interview him quickly on what his main tips are for getting funded in the VC world are. So talks about what venture capitalists are looking for, how much equity you're sort of looking to give up for the amount of money that you're searching for, the main problems that he's seen in pitches over the years of him being in the industry and sort of how you can go around that. And three big factors for getting funded. The main three factors that he looks for and a lot of venture capitalists look for in a pitch or in a presentation or in a business model, essentially. So those three factors will be a very good insight as to what you should be building your business around if you are looking to get funded. They write very, very big checks for a lot of different companies at a lot of different stages. So this does apply to everybody. And if you are not looking to get funded, there's still a very, very good insight as to how businesses are valued and at what sort of level they're valued at and what sort of the venture capitalists are looking for will sort of give you an insight as to how much your business could even be worth just by having some very good pillars in place to running your business model. We also jump a little bit into traveling and all that good stuff. But this episode, it's very quick, straight to the point, and just some really, really good knowledge bombs for you. So I hope you enjoy it. Again, this podcast is brought to you by Social Growth Media. If you'd like to get some free marketing and business resources, make sure you check out www.socialgrowthmedia.com/resources. And there's heaps of really good stuff over there. Check us out. Let us know what you think of this episode as well on Instagram. But without further ado, let's jump straight in with Dan Krasnostein, the partner of Square Peg Capital.
Dan Krasnostein, partner at Square Peg Capital. Square Peg's an Australian-founded VC. We invest in across Australia, Southeast Asia, and Israel. We've been around for about 6 years. Multi-stage investor, around Series A, B is our sweet spot. Multi-industry and as I said, multi-geography. I've been with Square Peg since we started in 2012, originally in Australia in our Melbourne office, and moved over to Israel at the back end of 2014 to open our office here.
Awesome. So how much does Square Peg currently have under management?
We've got about 300 million under management. The current fund is about $180 million.
Yeah.
And that's deployed, as I said, across those three geographies.
Nice. Any specific industries that you focus on? Or?
No, I mean, we're pretty industry agnostic, obviously all within tech, but we've got a couple of B2B businesses, B2C businesses, marketplace businesses, and across various different industries.
Awesome. And what's the average sort of amount that you would be funding companies with and what stage?
Yeah, so as I said, the sweet spot for us is A and B, but we've written very big checks into late stage deals and we've written smaller checks into early stage deals. But I would say an average check size for us would be kind of in the $2 to $5 million range, something in that mark.
Yep, too easy. So based on your experience, since 2012, what have you seen as sort of the main thing that a lot of early stage startups or small businesses sort of have as a problem during their pitch, and what would you do to fix that?
Look, I think probably the biggest one is really identifying the problem that you're solving. As investors, the biggest thing we invest in, the most important thing that we look at is the team. And so really being able to talk about who you are, what you're doing, why you're uniquely placed to do what you do. That's something I think most entrepreneurs are pretty well aware of. But being able to really well articulate that and then really describe the problem. So I think it's probably, to be honest, less of a problem in Australia, and I've been out of the market for a couple of years now. But it is a little bit of a problem over here where you have entrepreneurs saying, hey, I've got this great technology and now I'm going to go and find something to do with it. Really being able to identify what your problem is, clearly articulate that, and then why your solution is going to solve that problem and what's unique about your solution. Those are the three really the big ticket items in our mind at Square Peg. Team, what's the problem? Why is it unique? Why is your solution unique?
Yeah. Now, on the team, how would you describe a strong team?
So I think fit for purpose is probably the shortest answer, and that can come in various forms. So if it's a very deep technical business, then obviously technical background in that particular field. But it doesn't, that not all businesses we invest in are really deep tech. So just, again, having a good understanding for the market that you're in and having a particular understanding of the pain point, and that might come from personal experience. It's something that gives you kind of that advantage that puts you well placed.
Yep. So say you were looking to raise sort of $2 to $5 million. What sort of equity should a startup be prepared to give away for that?
Look, there's kind of rules of thumb that, funding rounds often give away somewhere between 20 and 30%, particularly at the earlier stages. As you're doing growth investing, that might change a little bit. But as with all rules, there are exceptions and they get broken. Yep. But I would say something in that range is pretty standard in inverted commas.
Does a company need to be cash flow positive before they go looking for funding of that sort of amount?
No, in fact, very few of the businesses we would see at that stage are cash flow positive. What we as VCs are looking for is businesses that can scale very fast and grow really fast. And generally that means reinvesting cash into growth of the business. Yep. And so, in fact, a lot of the businesses we look at, or not a lot of the businesses we look at, most have revenue of some description, but some we've invested in businesses pre-revenue.
Yeah.
So, no, I think cash flow positive, profitability, all those things, I would say growth comes as the number one factor. Responsible growth, but growth comes as the number one factor.
So what sort of time frame, when you say fast growth, scalability, what sort of time frame are you looking for? And then what sort of, ROI or return on investment are you looking for in that period of time?
You're talking about what time frame are we looking for our investment to exit our investment? Yeah. Look, we don't put a large emphasis on the exit point when we're coming into a business. We're looking to invest in businesses that we think can be really large, and that we understand that takes time, particularly if we're investing early. That could take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. We're much more focused on building businesses that can grow fast, that at scale can be profitable, looking into the future. So are the unit economics strong, all those kind of things, but we're much less focused on getting there in a short period of time.
Yeah. What advice would you have for someone who's got sort of like a local, say, Australian business mindset wise? How would you get them to start thinking globally, and what would you do to sort of get them to that stage?
I think thinking global and thinking big from day one is really, really important. Australia can be a bit of a catch-22 in that sense. It's a big market, particularly in some industries, it's a big market. But there aren't a heap of industries in Australia where you can build a huge business just locally, just with the Australian market. And so the catch-22 is it's not a tiny market like Israel or New Zealand where you just have to look overseas from day one because there's not a big enough local market, and you can get stuck there a little bit. So any advice I give to Aussies that come over here, and that's part of the thing they realise when they're getting in touch with Israeli businesses, is just having that global mindset from day one. Where is my market? And often that's the US, but not only. It might be through Europe or through Asia. Yes. But understanding that market and their needs and their customer needs and how you're going to get there is really important to do earlier rather than later.
Awesome. A couple random ones. Do you like traveling?
Love traveling.
Yeah.
That's part of the draw card of being here, obviously, is pretty quick access to Europe.
Yeah.
Traveling internationally from Australia, obviously, is hard, but also love traveling while I was in Australia throughout, internally within Australia.
Where's some of your favourite destinations?
So I would say recently favourite destinations have turned to skiing anywhere through Europe.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to ski in some mountains through Italy and France and Switzerland, but also summer spots as well. I've fallen in love with Italy in summer as I've been here. But the east coast of Australia is still a soft spot for me, and up and down the east coast is one of my favourite places.
Yep. Finally, maybe a couple books or further resources you'd recommend.
Books. That's a good one. So non-VC related, there's a book called Sapiens. I've just had a mental blank on the author.
It's all right. We'll link it.
Bingo. I think that's probably one of the books I've read in the last couple of years that's had the highest kind of impact on me. Found it fascinating. Books for VC, I don't want to give too many plugs out there to, don't want to upset people by leaving them off the list. But there is one, I think it's just called Venture Capital, how to be smarter than your lawyer or something along those lines, which is a real kind of 101 of deal structuring and deal making and what deals look like, what are terms and all those kind of things. Awesome. So I think if you're a first-time entrepreneur that's kind of new to this game, that's going to be some handy reading for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I hope everyone's enjoyed that.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Would you recommend people come to Tel Aviv?
Absolutely. Great travel spot and great tech ecosystem, obviously.
Awesome. Thanks so much, my man.
No problem.
Until next time.
So you have it, guys. There is the quick back and forth that I had with Dan Krasnostein, the partner of Square Peg Capital. I hope you got a lot out of that. There's some very, very clear points on how you should be looking to get funded and some things to avoid from other people's mistakes. So I hope that helps, as much as I know that I've passed that information on to a few people that have been looking to get funded recently, and it really did change pretty much everything, the way that they were going to pitch and sort of position what they were looking for as funding. So for them, especially, raise their expectations of how much they could actually go for and how much money is actually required to complete certain types of business models and get them to an MVP stage. So that I know has helped a lot of people that I've referred through this particular audio clip for. And now I'm very happy that I've sort of released this as a podcast for everybody else that's listening. If you are listening, I do appreciate that you are investing your time in this, and I hope it is rewarding you as much as it is many other people that are giving the feedback. If you'd like to help us out, please give us that feedback, leave a rating, review. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher, and you can also find this podcast, obviously, on jacksondean.com.au and socialgrowthmedia.com. So wherever you are listening to this, please leave us a comment or a rating or review. It just helps us build some momentum behind these great messages that we're getting out to you guys. If you would like to check out some free stuff, again, socialgrowthmedia.com/resources. Awesome, great free stuff on there. We do a lot with Instagram marketing, digital marketing, business model development, you name it, we do it on that website. So let us know what you think of those resources as well. We can get some great feedback there too. Again, that is www.socialgrowthmedia.com/resources. If you have any thing that you'd like to ask as a question, feel free to hit me up on an Instagram direct message. You can find me at JacksonDean1, and I'll be happy to get back to you on there. For now, that's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you in the next one.